destroyed after gunmen attacked the ADJEN KOTOKU onion market. Meanwhile, the Trade Ministry has called for calm as it engages the leadership of the market. Also, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly indicates closure of a 2-foot bridge at KANESHIE will stretch to the rest of the year. And much later, big week ahead as government and Ghanaians as major meetings in the offing this week to discuss issues of interest. I am Enyonam, and the details of headlines and other stories. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now we're on to our first story, a rather unfortunate one where 5 people have been injured with some motorbikes destroyed after gunmen attacked the ADJEN KOTOKU onion market. This stems from growing disputes between Nigeria and Ghanaian onion traders and has escalated into a major supply standoff with 59 trucks belonging to Ghanaian importers reportedly held in Nigeria. Secretary to the Accra Onion Sellers Association, Alhaji Osman Muhammad Sidi, who spoke to 3FM, said the standoff follows an earlier crash with which Nigerian traders were allegedly prevented from offloading 16 trucks at the market. He explained how this transpired.
Therefore, the Nigerians' refusal to split that onions to various associations lead to stop them not to offload their onions into the market. So this also raised attention that the Nigerians also have no option than to stop all onions coming to Ghana or even beyond. So today we came to the market to negotiate and see how best we can resolve and then let the onions offload. And one various sector of the Onion Association attacked the market of Accra onions, which results in gun firing, machetes, and even a lot of destruction. Some trucks, some were wounded, taken to the hospital. Motorbikes were destroyed. Things have been destroyed into the market of Accra Onion Sellers Import.
That was the secretary to the Accra Onion Sellers Association, Alhaji Osman Mohammed Sidi. Now, he's added that the trade minister has called for a meeting with the market leaders to resolve the impasse. Now, away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has arrived in Lyon, France for a One Health Summit, a gathering of world leaders, health ministers and global health experts, which he will be co-chairing with the French President Emmanuel Macron. The president was welcomed by a group of Ghanaian families who were excited coming out and meet the president on Easter Monday. The summit will bring together world leaders, health ministers and global experts to discuss pressing issues affecting global health system, sustainable food production, and joint strategies to address the emerging health challenges. President Mahama is expected to deliver 2 keynote addresses during the event. The president will leave Lyon for Paris after Tuesday's summit for a bilateral meeting with President Macron at the palace. Now to some more stories. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly has indicated that the 2-foot bridges at KANESHIE will be shut off till the rest of the year. The KANESHIE footbridge was closed on April 2 for urgent rehabilitation after safety concerns were raised. The MA expects the repairs to have taken several months, with the work ultimately improving both structural integrity of the bridge and pedestrian safety. Let's take a listen to the Public Relations Officer for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Ni Ankra.
The work will begin, and we are hoping that within 6 to 9 months it will be completed. Let me also state that that particular enclave drainage facilities will be worked on within that enclave. So the roads ministry is even looking at blocking that particular stretch to make way for the construction of the drains within the Accra Academy all the way. So we are looking at immediately the road is open, after completion, the bridge would also be functional.
That was the Public Relations Officer of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Nee Ankra. Now, Ghanaians are expectant this week for the outcomes of many meetings where major decisions will be taken, from fuel prices to transport fares to cost of sachet waters. These meetings will discuss interventions and measures to curb and cushion the consumer. President Mahama hinted of a cabinet meeting this week to discuss transport fares on Thursday.
I've called for an emergency cabinet meeting to decide some measures we can take to cushion the petroleum price while we expect that the war comes to an end.
Now, in relation to transport, as operators are set to engage the government on this week over the possible increase in fares, citing rising operational costs such as fuel, spare part, maintenance, and inflation. Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikbe spoke last Thursday, April 2, about the development.
Over 3 weeks today, I've been engaging them. Myself and the Finance Minister will be engaging them, and we are all in a state of engagement. We will soon come out with our final decisions to the general public. I wouldn't want to make anything known to the public that is not yet finalized with my transport unions. And we work together, and I must thank them for their cooperation so far. And I believe that at the end of the day, we'll come out with a win-win situation for us and then the transport unions and all the drivers that we have.
Was the Minister for Transport, Joseph Bukari Nikbe. Now, on Wednesday, the Ministry of Trade will also engage the Ghana Plastics Manufacturers Association and the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers on the proposed price increment for sachet water. Indeed, a big week, and we look forward to the development as the week unfolds. Now, away from that, the Minister for Government Communication, Felix Kwasi-Ofosu, announced the arrival of a new fleet of buses to help ease the ongoing road transport challenges across the country. The minister outlined government efforts to improve public transport and reduce pressures on commuters. He revealed that government has begun receiving buses as part of a broader plan to expand transport capacity nationwide. 129-seater buses have already arrived in the country to address the recent transport difficulties. Meanwhile, the deputy ranking member on the Select Committee of Roads and Transport, Alhassan Tampuli Sulemana, wants government to support private sector to expand.
As a matter of fact, this is not even a government problem per se. It's the transport sector. And over the years, over the decades, private sector has been the engine driving the transport sector, not even the government buses. If you compare the number of buses that we have in the public sector to the number of trotros that we have on one route alone, they will be more than the number of government buses.
Right.
So whilst we are doing this, we should also support the private sector, GPRTU, Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, so that they will also get the bus. The government to support them to be able to bring in the buses to augment what it is that we are seeing with Metro Mass.
And you heard the voice of the deputy ranking member on the Select Committee of Roads and Transport, Alhassan Tampuli Sulemana. And that brings us to the first half of this morning's bulletin. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam, and that business news is right on.
Follow us on social media, Twitter at 3FM927, Facebook at 3FM927, and also on 3news.com.
time for Sunrise Business News on Sunrise 3FM 92.7. Coming up this morning, Government of Ghana misses Treasury target by 1.05 billion cedis as third straight deficit as the demand slumps. Also, President Mahama urges Finance Ministry for additional appeal day amid the new AI system. Other points.
I think that the Deputy Minister and others can chair additional appeal process, maybe even 5 times a week, so that anybody who has any issue can go up there and challenge it.
And much later in this bulletin, the Ashanti Business Owners Association urges government to channel policies to attract investors to the Eastern region.
We can have a policy says that, okay, for the next 5 years ahead of us, every investor that want to bring investment to Ghana, we're blocking ACCRA to you. It's what they call the call for you. Okay. You can consciously direct investment to this place.
Details of our headlines and other stories, please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now to our first story. Investor appetite for Ghana's short-term debt instrument is cooling rapidly as government recorded a shortfall in excess of 1 billion cedis. This is the consecutive time under subscription in the last Treasury bill auction. There's more in the following report.
The government fell 1.05 billion cedis short of its 4.67 billion cedis target, securing total bids of only 3.16 billion cedis. Of the bids received, the Bank of Ghana accepted 2.94 billion cedis, signaling a sharp pivot from the oversubscription seen earlier this year. The auction results highlight a shifting landscape where investors are demanding higher returns for their liquidity. The 91-day bill remained the most popular. Bids amounted to 2.02 billion cedis, while government took 1.99 billion cedis. At yield of 4.81%, the 182-day bill received offers totaling 498 million cedis, with government accepting 460 million cedis at an interest rate of 6.71%. For the 364-day bill, investors offered 648 million cedis in bids, while government accepted 533 million cedis at a yield of 9.84%. This recalibration of investor sentiment comes at a challenging time for fiscal authorities. Despite the weakening demand, government is doubling down on its borrowing strategy. On April 10, 2026, government plans to return to the market with a significantly higher target of 7.57 billion cedis. Analysts suggest that if the current trend of undersubscription continues, government may be forced to further hike interest rates to attract the necessary capital to meet its short-term financing needs.
That was a 3 Business report on the government of Ghana missing the target by 1 billion cedis in a straight deficit as the Treasury bill demand slumps. Meanwhile, Ghana has officially re-entered domestic bond market for the first time since the domestic debt exchange program, raising 2.7 billion cedis at a 12.5% coupon rate. While the move signals a shift away from the heavy reliance on short-term Treasury bill, analysts describe the issuance as a probationary step. The 12.5% rate sits significantly higher than the current 9.84% yield on the 364-day Treasury bill, suggesting that investors are still demanding a high premium for midterm risk. Now, away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has sparked the use of digital system at Ghana's sport, urging the authorities to ease transitional challenges. The president called on the Ministry of Trade to increase the number of appeal days available to importers. Speaking at the Co-Business Forum, the president endorsed the adoption of digitalization at the country's sport as a step towards improving efficiency and transparency in trade operations.
I've heard a few complaints about unfair imposition in terms of what duties and levies have to be paid. And so the ministry has an appeal system. So far, it is held 2 days in a week. I have advised that they increase the number of days. And so if you get your invoice and it's a legitimate invoice, and of course, sometimes AI and any digitalization can get things wrong. And so if you have your legitimate invoice and you think that the duties and levies that have been imposed are higher than you actually should pay, I'm sure if they are lower, you even decide to appeal, you'll be happy and go away. But if they are higher, then you normally take it to the appeal. They go through the process and they vet your invoice. And if it is justified that, yes, you have been overcharged, the appropriate duties and levies are reduced. We will increase the number of appeal days. So far, it's the minister who has been chairing the appeal process. I think that the deputy minister and others can chair additional appeal process, maybe even 5 times a week, so that anybody who has any issue can go up there and challenge it.
That was President John Dramani Mahama urging the Ministry of Finance to increase the number of appeal days available to importers. Now, as the curtain fell on the 2026 Global Business Forum, some exhibitors have expressed high satisfaction with the 3-day event, describing it as a transformative platform for Ghanaian enterprises. Speaking to 3 Business, they highlighted the unique networking opportunities and shared their expectations for an even more robust engagement in the next edition.
Exhibitors at Peru Convention Center noted that this year's forum provided unprecedented visibility. CEO of Black Peacock, Anidela Akanko, is looking ahead to leverage services of the financial sector during next year's forum.
You need financial backing to scale up. So next year, I look forward to having that opportunity to have sessions with them, not only with the banking sector, but other stakeholders that are in the government sector, looking at the GEPA, we have GIPC, the Trade Ministry, because there needs to be coordination between them and us, and that makes the whole value chain a little more strategic and more strengthened.
Despite the success of the 2026 edition, Head of Sales and Marketing at Supreme State Company, Isaac Dazi, is already looking ahead with a specific recommendation for the next forum.
I know that they do the exhibition, government agencies pass through and all that. We talk about our product, but I think it will be very good if the startup businesses are being given a platform, maybe one day to showcase what they have. Maybe we have this and that. I mean, 1 hour, 30 to 1 hour, we'll be able to do something. 2 minutes, 5 minutes each will be helpful.
Meanwhile, speaking to 3 Business on the sidelines of the Kohu Business Forum, the Executive Secretary of the Ashanti Business Owners Association, Charles Kusi Apiakubi, noted that government should make a deliberate attempt to bring in infrastructure and policies that will attract investors to the eastern region, particularly in the Kohu area.
You can have the policies, but conditions attached to the policy might not be that attractive for you to come in. Investment is a conscious decision that must be made by government, create the enabling environment for the private sector to take advantage of that. So government can make that possible policy, which is intentional. We can have a policy that says that, okay, for the next 5 years ahead of us, every investor that want to bring investment to Ghana, we're blocking ACCRA to you. It's what they call the call for you. All right? Okay. You can consciously direct investment to this place. Then you can get the business people, the local business people to partner. When you look at people who move from Kohu to Accra, it's because of markets. So if you're able to also to create market for the people here, it will attract the business people to come back home. Okay, so it's not just a call that business people should come here, but it must come with certain policies that are so enticing that you cannot refuse to accept that policy to come in exploit opportunities here. So road network is important. And I heard the president saying that they're going to ensure they expand the road network to avoid traffic. Yeah. But expanding road network is not just only for traffic, but to ensure accessibility to markets.
It's now time to look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies.
On the interbank foreign exchange market, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis. It recorded no change. The British pound is selling at 14 cedis, 56 pesos. It gained 9 pesos. The euro is selling at 12 cedis, 70 pesos. It also lost 7 pesos. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at a forex bureau near you. On the global commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $110.70 per barrel. Gold is trading at $4,657.37 per ounce, down by $20.90. Cocoa is trading at $3,220 per ton, down by $25.
Was an update from the forex and commodities markets. That'll be all for business news here on 3FM 92.7. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyonam. Stay with us.